Okay. Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. If you are on the eastern half of the United States, as I am. Good evening if you're on the far east in Asia, like some of my friends are. Good afternoon if you're anywhere in between. And special greetings to the 12 tribes of the nation, the scattered nation of Israel, scattered into the four corners of the earth through slavery and oppression. Greetings to those that are the strangers that dwell among us as Israelites, that have chosen to worship our God, Yahweh, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who spoke the covenant only to his chosen people, and they have decided to connect with us through faith in Messiah, the beloved Son of the Most High Yahweh. Also, blessings upon those that work in healthcare, trying to save life, whether they be naturopath, holistic medicine, regular doctors, nurses' aides, nursing assistants, physician assistants, ambulance workers, EMT workers, people that are trying to save life, even oftentimes at the expense of their own, even most times for strangers, people they don't even know. Blessings upon them. Blessings also on those that pick up garbage to keep our places clean. Blessings also on those that make deliveries for us, for our convenience. Blessings, double blessings on those that are out here trying to deliver babies, boys and girls, teenagers, and adults from the clutches of sex slave and human trafficking operations going on a worldwide basis in the darkness, and earning billions of dollars off this disgusting trade, and double curses on those that support such a trade. Finally, blessings on those that are trying to help the homeless. 500,000 human beings, including men, women, children, families, and veterans that are actually literally living on the streets of the United States of America, and millions of other human beings around the world that don't have a roof over their head and are living outside in all kinds of weather and conditions. Blessings on those trying to relieve that suffering, and on those who suffer, for theirs is the kingdom. I wanted to share something with you this morning. As I mentioned to you all, and I am sorry, my apologies. Blessings to all in the chat, Bathaman, Isha Jr., Mark, blessings, my brother D. Prince Bun, Zadok, blessings to all of y'all. May the Most High bless you. And we mentioned that, and I encourage all to study the Bible. Not just study it, I mean read it from cover to cover. We've been talking about that every time. Read the Bible. Don't just look here and there. Read the thing from Genesis to Revelation. It's going to take you a year, but it's the most important book ever given to mankind. Let me say that again. The King James Bible is the most important book ever given to mankind, because the Father in heaven, who is the Alpha and Omega, upon which a bird doesn't even hit the ground and he doesn't know it, who knows each star by an individual name that he created, that Father gave us this book for this time. People try to say, it's been changed. People are hiding stuff from us. Stop being foolish. Read the book. Then you can have something to say about it. Read it. Genesis 1:1 straight through to Revelation 22:21. Read it. And once you have read it through, then we could talk about what you think the errors are. But don't go here and there and then study other books and come back from your Apocrypha, from your Septuagint, from your garbage, from the Catholic Church, and then have something to say about this book. Don't even come there. You're not even correct. Read the book and then come back and talk about these other volumes that you think may have something in there. But the Father knows everything, and he put this book in our hands, the King James Bible. He put it in our hands. And as I was reading through again, I'm in my 19th reading, And I was telling you that I saw something. Now, it's always going to be this way. Again, we're dealing with an infinite mind. The Father is an infinite mind. His mind, the Bible says his understanding is it's infinite. That means it's without measure. It's in perpetuity. You never get to the end of Father's understanding. The Bible says his understanding is infinite. By the way, that is the same Psalm 147 that says he only chose Israel with the infinite mind. But by the way, let's look at Deuteronomy. We know a very familiar passage, Deuteronomy chapter 28. Very familiar to us, especially us awakened Hebrews, really awakened, not these woke people. Don't go by what media calls woke, yo. Okay, listen. There are paradigms that media and man create from Asatan to confuse us. Then the Bible, listen. I'm going to speak. I'm just into speaking straight truth today. I mean, I'm not always is, but I'm really feeling bold about it today. So I might offend some people. I'm not trying to, but it is what it is. So listen, the Most High has given the Hebrew people, the true Hebrew people, a style and a rhythm and a creativity. I'm being honest, that the rest of the world just don't have. I'm going to say that again. I'm being honest with y'all now. And anybody that's being truthful will understand what I'm saying. The Most High has given the true Hebrew people a style and a creativity that most other people just don't have. Okay, they just don't have it like that. The Most High has given it to us. You know, some people are born tall. Some people are born short. You know, some people have proclivity to certain things. But the true Hebrew people, the children of Eber, have been given a style and a creativity, and their creativity has been used and been stolen from them multiple times, right? So other nations steal our stuff. It's normal for us. We can't put copyrights on stuff. They steal our stuff. But you see, what I always believed about that is this: if I create something but from the Most High's gift to me, and somebody steals it, they are stuck with that. Whereas the Most High can give me more. You understand what I'm saying? Because the creativity comes from the Most High. So they can steal stuff, but they stuck with it as it is. Whereas where it came from is inexhaustible. So you could steal a creative thing. You could steal a phrase. You could steal anything you want. But you can only stop there or go backwards. Whereas the source of the creativity is not going to stop. There'll be more where that came from. So it was the Hebrews that came up with the term woke. Correct? Am I lying? The Hebrews came up with the term woke, or the term consciousness, in terms of this new thing where everybody's starting to question the current system. Hebrews came up with that. But the media has tried to turn it into something to mean, you know, some sort of liberalism, political foolishness. You understand? But we came up with the term woke. And you know why we came up with the term woke? You know where that comes from? It comes from the word. Deuteronomy 30. And it shall come to pass, when all these things come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither Yahweh hath scattered thee, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy Most High with all thy heart, with all thy soul, thou and thy children, and shalt obey his commandments, statutes, and judgments. Then I'll turn your captivity. That's the awakening. That's being woke. You understand? We're awakening to who we are. We're awakening now, understanding why in all of the public elementary schools, junior high schools, high school, they talk about European history. They tell you about Christopher Columbus. They tell you about Abraham Lincoln. They tell you about George Washington, but they never tell you about us, where we come from. Our history always starts in the slave ship. Our history always starts in the field with cotton. That's where our history starts. Our history starts with spears and bows and huts. That's what they try to tell you our history is. But we have been awakened. And we realize now that very history itself started with us. that when mankind was created, he looked like us. Not only that, they tried to change Messiah's appearance so that they can be higher. The same people that created race tried to make Messiah their race that they created, and they created a Messiah like that, and he doesn't even exist. Nah. The prince of the tribe of Judah, that lion, Yahushua, that's our cousin, y'all. That's our cousin. That's our bloodline relative. Okay? And here in Deuteronomy, we have all read, when we awakening, we read part of our awakening was Deuteronomy 28. And one of the huge verses in Deuteronomy 28 that awakened us, I mean, the whole chapter is an awakening because it's only one people. You see, that's what the Bible does. When you actually read the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, when you actually do that, you will notice, especially the Hebrews, because listen, it's written for y'all. It's about y'all and for y'all. You understand? It's about y'all and for y'all. That's what this Bible is. Oh, I know. William Tyndale was used to translate it from Hebrew into English, and from Greek into English, and from Aramaic into English. He did that. And then in 1611, you know, the rest of them got together and finished what Tyndale did and called it the Authorized Version. Oh, I know that. But when you read it, see, I remember when I was in Harlem, back in the day, we used to preach on the streets in Harlem. This is back in the early 80s when I first became a Christian, actually. Me and another brother from Barbados, we used to go on 125th Street. If y'all from New York back in the day, you know what I'm talking about. We used to be out there preaching on that corner on 125th Street and 8th Avenue. Okay? And brother used to walk up to me saying, man, you preaching from that white man's Bible. You preaching from that white man's Bible. That's what he would say. They would say, several brothers told me that. But now I understand it's not a white man's Bible because all the people in it, the major players, are brown. So it's not about the Caucasian people. They were just used to translate the book because we're enslaved and they translate it into the language that they're teaching us to speak. Because we lost our language. We lost it. Just like we lost who we was. But this book tells us who we are. It's about us. It's our history. Talk about something being hidden from us. It's our history. Okay? This is our history right here. This is how it teaches us. It shows you how we got to 2021. It shows you how you got here. And it shows you where you started. So reading 28 Deuteronomy, right? You know, it's the whole thing, but look, there's this part at the end, right? And I'm going to start at verse 64 and go down to verse 68, right? Now, I want you to pay attention because y'all know this is like the awakening chapter anyway, right? And I just quoted Deuteronomy 30 also, but Deuteronomy is the book of the law, and this is an awakening book. Really, it is. So when you look at 28 from 64 to 68, watch what it says. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people. Has that happened? From one end of the earth even unto the other. Has that happened? And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. What's the wood? It's that cross that people put everywhere. It's that cross they put on top of buildings. They put it on things. People tattoo it on themselves. They got us all messed up. You know, they got Hebrews tattoo and crack crosses on themselves. That's the wood. And what about the stone? That's what all of them people, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64 to 68. Deuteronomy 28, 64 to 68. Catch it now. Okay. What's the stone? In Saudi Arabia, where the Arabs are, they got Hebrews bowing down to a stone by the thousands. People go out there every day from all over the world to bow to the stone. Malcolm X bowed to it. They call it Mecca. It's a stone. It's a building made of stone. Even wood and stone. That's come to pass. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease. Is that true? Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahweh shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. Every time a brother gets pulled over by a cop, tell me his life is not in danger. Tell me now. Every time a police officer stops you, your life is in danger. Your life is in danger. We talking about George Floyd, right? But y'all know, I mean, if you want to really get real, this has been happening long before they found George Floyd. Long time. Before Michael Brown. Long time. Decades. Since there was a cop in the United States, they've been killing us. Your life is in doubt before you. You understand? This ain't new. It's just right now, it's just publicized because we got phones and stuff that everybody can see it. But this has been going on for many, many, many decades, even centuries now. Okay? And that's here in Deuteronomy 28. Thou shalt fear day and night, and thou shalt have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou wilt say, would Yah that it were evening, and even thou shalt say, would Yah were morning, for the fear of thy heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. Let me break this down in case you don't understand. Egypt has a dual meaning. The word Egypt in the Bible, it means Mizraim, which is Ham. It's Ham's son, Mizraim. He founded the nation. But it also means house of bondage. I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee, Israel, out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So he said, I'm going to bring you again into the house of bondage by ship. And then he says, where the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. When Moses was standing before the children of Israel before they crossed the Red Sea, they were escaping the house of bondage, and the Egyptians were coming after them. And Moses stilled the people, and he said, you see these Egyptians? He said, you're not going to see them no more again forever, he said. Because the Most High Yah is going to deliver you, and you're not going to see them again forever. But he said, I told you wouldn't see it, but now you're going to see it again. That's what it means. Yet, and there shall ye be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. What does that mean? When you're sold in the Bible as a slave, you basically serve for X number of years. You're sold as a slave for debts, or you're sold as a slave because you lose a war. And you're as slave for X number of years. But when you're in chattel slavery, you're not going to be redeemed. See, when you're not in chattel slavery, you could be redeemed. If your debt is paid, if somebody speaks for you, you could be redeemed. But he said, no, you're not going to be redeemed. In other words, you're going to be bred to be slaves. You're going to be raised to be slaves. You're going to be taught to be slaves. No man going to redeem you. How many people on the entire planet Earth fit this description? Now, I brought this up because I told you I was reading something in Numbers, and it smacked me, man. You know, sometimes you just read something in the word. Now, we're talking about Jeremiah chapter 4 today, and I ain't forgot that, but I just wanted to share with y'all. I'm in Numbers, right? And this, sometimes you read the word and things just smack you. You know what I mean? Just like, whoa, right? All right, let me show you this. So this was, now, Balaam. Balaam was a prophet that gave up his gift for money. He was a prophet of Yah that turned in his gift instead of the glory of Yah for money. Been happening a long time. It happens today. But before he did that, the Most High spoke through him one last time. And when he did, I want to show you what he said. Now, he starts off in Numbers chapter 24. Numbers chapter 24. And Balak was mad at him because he kept blessing Israel instead of cursing them, right? And after that, he said, in beginning at verse 12, And Balaam said unto Balak, Balak was the king of Moab, spake I not also to thy messengers which thou sentest unto me, saying, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the commandment of Yahweh to do either good or bad for my own mind. And what Yahweh said, that will I speak. So he said, look, this is not about me. You asking me to ask my God, and he's telling you the answer. Hey, listen, brethren, this is common. People ask for things, right? They want an answer from Yahweh, but they already got what they want in their mind, right? And when Yahweh says something that's not what they had, they won't receive the answer. That's why I challenge you. Anybody listening to me, sit down in go in the quiet room, get on your knees and call upon the Creator and ask him to show you his truth. You're not going to want to hear it. See, I learned that because it's myself. Like, brethren, we don't want to hear the truth. Oh, we have no problem spitting it to somebody else, right? When it's not hurting us. But when Most High give it to us, we don't like it. But you know what? The Hebrew's been spanked around so much now, we can receive it. It's the other nations that's going to have a trouble. So y'all of the other nations that are receiving this truth, bless y'all. Because the truth is hard, y'all. It ain't soft. Truth is not soft. It's sweet, but it's hard, boy. You ain't going to like it. You'll love it when you receive it, though. When you're ready to receive it, no matter what it is, the Bible says the full soul loathes a honeycomb, but to the hungry soul, every bitter thing is sweet. I tell you, the word is amazing, man, right? So look, that's what he said. He said, now look, in verse 14, he said, and now behold, I go unto my people, and come therefore, and I will advertise thee what this people shall do to thy people in the latter days. So now he's talking about our time. Whenever the Bible talks about latter days, understand it's where we live. We are the latter days. Okay. Now notice he said some things, but I'm going to show you something at the end that he said in the same chapter 24. Chapter 24, verse 24. Chapter 24 of Numbers, verse 24. And ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and shall afflict Asher, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever. The ships of Kittim. Who is Kittim? Kittim is the Europeans that come from specific area. They come from Greece and Rome. Look it up. They come from Greece and Rome. And who is Kittim? Just to make sure you'll understand, Genesis chapter 10, the history of the nations is Genesis chapter 10. That's where the nations began that we now have. Genesis chapter 10, in the Genesis, in the beginning, the word Genesis is Barashit at the beginning, in the beginning. Notice Genesis chapter 10, right? Verse 2, the sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, Tiras. Pay attention to Javan. That's where you get Greeks. If you look up Javan, you're going to see it says Greeks. But notice verse 4, and the sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Kittim is the coast of where we have Italy as well as Cyprus. So he says, ships shall come from Kittim and shall afflict Ashur and Eber. Eber are Hebrews. Ships shall come and afflict Eber. I will bring thee again into Egypt by ship. There's two witnesses about the ships and us. You seeing that? And ships shall come from the coast of Kittim and shall afflict Ashur. Ashur is your Assyrians, who are actually, they're in the Babylonian culture because that nation was founded by Nimrod of Ham, but they were Semites. And shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever. Kittim, the ships that come, they gonna perish forever. Oh, man. Come on, man. I've read this so many times and doing a hit. I said, wait, they mentioned Eber in Numbers? Eber, whenever you see Eber, that's Hebrew. That's the word Hebrew. In the Bible, it's E-B-E-R. It says Eber. But The translation, when you look at the translation, is Hebrew. So when they call Abraham the Hebrew, they were talking about his being a descendant of the man Hebrew. And in fact, in Genesis 10, it makes mention of him with Shem. I mean, he's a descendant of Shem, but it makes mention of him. Why? Because from his loins, from his seed, come the chosen people. That's why they mention that when Joseph was in Egypt, whenever you read in Genesis and they talk about Joseph, the Egyptians, they mention him as the Hebrew. They mention him as the Hebrew. They didn't mention him as an Israelite. They say the Hebrew. Now, there's a lot of Hebrews because Eber had a lot of kids, but the chosen seed comes through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why it's Hebrew Israelite. See, because there's a lot of Hebrews, but there's Hebrew Israelite because of the line it come through. Let me give you an example. Edom was a Hebrew, right? He come from Isaac. Isaac come from Abraham. They come from Eber. Let me give you another example. Ishmael is a Hebrew because he came from Abraham, who came from Eber. But Ishmael and Edom obviously are not the chosen seed because the chosen seed came through Isaac, Jacob. Jacob's name changed to Israel. So Jacob's people are Israelites and they're also Hebrew. That's why you get Hebrew Israelites. I've actually had people say, Bible doesn't say anything about Hebrew Israelites. Those are people that I don't waste any time with. You know why? Because they're telling me what the Bible says, having never read it. I can't respect a person that has an opinion about something they have never read. I have a problem with that. Maybe that's me, but I can't respect somebody that has an opinion about a book they have never, ever read. Bible doesn't speak anything about Hebrew Israelites. You know what the Bible doesn't speak about? Christians. It mentions Christians 3 times and it's negative. It's an epithet for those of us that actually read the Bible. Christianity is not mentioned, but except it comes from the whore, Rome. Talks about a religion based in Rome from the sons of Japhet that's going to rule the earth, has many daughters, does away with God's law, with Yah's law, creates its own institutions that they worship. How many places is that? A religion based in Rome, led by one man, that has a lot of daughters, daughter religions, that created an institution that they give gold and silver and money to. How many religions is that? See how the Bible does it? It gives you so many leads that you don't have, it's only one. Just like there's only one people that went into slave ships from Europeans and were in chattel slavery. Only one people that looked like ancient Egyptians. So much so that a Greek man looked at the Apostle Paul and said, "Aren't you that Egyptian?" Because he looked like an Egyptian. There's only one people that fit that description. That's how the Bible does it. But you see, in order for you to know that, you have to do what? Read it. In order for you to know that. I have no respect for somebody that has something to say and ain't read it. Okay. Praise Yah. So now, y'all see that though? So it gives us 2 witnesses about how the Hebrews were going to be placed in slavery. 2. In the mouth of what? 2 or 3 witnesses? I mean, where it specifically mentions ships. It talks a lot about slavery. All the prophets talk about it. But where it specifically talks about the ships. Okay? We even got people that try to claim there was no, slavery on ships. I mean, I've seen even so-called people that don't know who they are, Hebrews, say, there really wasn't slave ships. We were already in America. We didn't come here by slavery. Anyway, I'm not saying that the tribes didn't get here before slavery, but you don't try to say there was no slave ships. I mean, anyway, I believe the word of the Most High. That's all I can say. So let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 4. We're talking about today out of the north. Jeremiah chapter 4. And we're going to have to visit our brother, Joel. I'm glad to visit him today because he talks about it too. Last night, y'all saw we got interrupted, right? Y'all understand what's going on with that. It's all good, though. One day they're going to take me off of YouTube. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to be arrested. They're going to take me off of YouTube. I'm telling you. But that's not going to stop the word. Praise the Most High. That's not going to stop the word. Okay? So let's go Jeremiah chapter 4. Jeremiah chapter 4. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse 5 and 6. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 4, 5 and 6. Notice what it said. Declare ye in Judah and publish in Jerusalem and say, blow ye the trumpet in the land. Cry, gather together and say, assemble yourselves and let us go into the defense cities. Set up the standard toward Zion. Retire, stay not, for I will bring evil from the north and great destruction. Again, I was talking about it last night. I'll bring it up again now. The Bible speaks of that often, that our enemies coming out of the north. Now, understanding where Israel is, the enemies coming out of the north. Okay, we understand that, okay? So the children of Japhet, as we talked about in Ezekiel 38, they're coming out of the north. So it's telling you, the Most High is showing us, in this case, as we're looking at Jeremiah, Jeremiah is warning, the Most High is warning his people through Jeremiah that he's going to bring trouble out of the north, but in this case, is to spank his people. Jeremiah's prophecies include, along with, listen, man, Brother Mark, you said something today. I didn't get a chance to respond, but it was beautiful. He said that the prophets are like a beautiful symphony that come together. Symphony of truth. And that is beautiful. That is so true because all the prophets speak with one voice when you read them. They all speak with one voice, Old Testament and New Testament. They speak with one voice, and together their voices blend into music that's the Father's words. And that voice blending is the book of Revelation. Isn't that powerful, man? Wow. So anyway, out of the north, right? So sometimes he brings people out of the north to punish us, and sometimes he brings people out of the north to try to attack us before their destruction. In this case, in Jeremiah, he's bringing one people out of the north to punish us. Now, later on in Jeremiah, when you get to the end of Jeremiah, he's going to destroy the people that came out of the north. Okay, and listen, brethren, let us not forget. I'm going to keep this before you. I know I'm going to drive you all crazy. This is for Israel. The messages of the prophets are for Israel. Always. Somebody said, well, what about, and I'll come and say, what about the Gentiles? What about the Caucasian people? What about the Asian people? It's for them when they join among us. When the strangers come among us, it's with them too. But those that are not with us, it's not for them. But it's always, always, always for Israel. Always for Israel. Can y'all hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can y'all hear testing 1, 2, 3? I want to make sure. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Some people having an audio issue. Want to make sure. Can you type a 1 if you can hear me? Please type a 1 if you can hear me. Okay, good, good, excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, Brother Mark, it might be your connection. All right, so let's go to Joel. Joel chapter 1. Joel chapter 1. See, when you sit back and you look at the situation after reading through the Bible and you look at the situation, there's certain obvious things, especially when you're a Hebrew by blood, you can see it. Like I said, the Most High has given us a gift. We have a creative gift. The Most High has given it to us. Okay. Now, I'm not saying we're the only creative people on the earth, But I think it's quite evident that we have a creative gift. It's been given to us. And that's gonna, you can't exhaust that because it comes from the Most High. It's played out in music, it's played out in sports, on stages. In that regard, you can kind of see the gift. But really, we're not, because our enemies want to oppress us, they're not making full use of the gift. Because that gift can be in any area of life, medicine, science, construction. The gift can be used, but they want to oppress us because of greed and fear. So they're not making full use of the gift. Like there's a true story of a man that wanted to go to medical school. He was a Hebrew, wanted to go to medical school back in the 20s. He was saving his money to go to school. True story. I believe a rapper played his role, but it was a true story. And the depression happened, and at that time there was no insurance on your deposit at the bank, so he lost all the money he saved for school. So he would get jobs in hospitals as orderlies or whatever, but he had a gift. He actually could perform operations. He can know what was wrong going on inside the human body. And he was never educated in that, except in high school. And so what ended up happening was a Caucasian doctor recognized this gift and was taking the gift and using it himself, asking this brother, what should I do? And the brother, this is a trained doctor, and the brother was like, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Then the brother was doing experimental surgeries with animals that were later he used for humans. And he really was a heart surgeon, but he was never trained. He just had a gift. Okay. And all the Caucasian doctors hated him because he was black. See how stupid that is? Where he could save life, but because they wanted to be above him. I don't remember it right now. I can find out for you though. I can find out. But they wanted to be above him. So so it was more important to oppress him than to bring out the gift. And that scenario I just showed you, this is a true story. That scenario I just showed you is happening in every area because we have been oppressed. So the gifts are being suppressed. They use it for entertainment. Like you could see a LeBron James or a Michael Jackson or Idris Elba or Denzel Washington. You could see them perform in arts and sports and things that entertain, and you could see that gift there. But that's not like, what's more important, watching a basketball game or saving a human life? So that if you want to really utilize the gift, you'd be utilizing it for the good of mankind. But you see, greed and oppression are what rules the earth, because Satan and lies rule this earth. And because of that, you'll never get righteousness on the earth. Washington, D.C. will never give you righteousness. Don't ever expect you're going to get righteousness in Washington, because greed rules Washington. Greed rules the earth. Lust for power rules the earth, because Satan is at the pinnacle of the pyramid, and he wants power. He wants worship. And so everything underneath him is like that. The Most High that's in the third heaven, he don't need to grab power. He is power. You understand the difference? Somebody wants power is somebody that wants the Most High's position, because you know what? The Most High is power. He is power. So that's how it is. So those of us that serve power serve the Most High. Those of us that want power are serving Satan. And the gifts that could be used to help mankind from the Hebrews that have been given these creative gifts will never be used to their fullest extent. They'll rather pay a basketball player $40 million a year than get a kid from the ghetto that just has a gift to heal people to use that. You understand? So something I can't remember. I'll find it for y'all though. It was a rapper. I think look up Mos Def. I think Mos Def was the star of the movie. I think that was the rapper Mos Def. Hold on. I'll tell you right now, because Something the Lord made. That's what it's called. Something the Lord made. Something the Lord made. That's what it's called. Something the Lord made. That's right. Most Def played the doctor, or the guy that should have been a doctor. Yeah, that movie is an example, though. I use that as an example because that scenario is played out in every facet of life. Because the Most High has given us gifts, but they're not being utilized. Okay, because of greed. Because of greed and lust for power and fear, they're not being utilized. That's why the Bible says when we get to the kingdom, we're going to build houses. We're going to plant vineyards. In other words, all the gifts that he gave us and that are going to be now on another level, we're going to utilize for the blessing of the whole earth. We're going to utilize it as righteousness. You understand? That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing. Yes, they put his picture up after he died, but he didn't get what he was supposed to get. He was supposed to be a physician. He was supposed to be a surgeon. He was supposed to be a surgeon. He was supposed to be a surgeon, and they stopped him. They stopped him. See, if he was not a Hebrew, he would have gotten a full scholarship ride somewhere and he'd become a surgeon. And they'd have put his, forget a picture, they'd had a statue of that boy because he was gifted like that. He created specific ways of heart surgery they didn't know nothing about. Look at the movie. Okay, it's in there. And that's not even giving you, when they do Hollywood, they don't give you the true story. They don't give you the whole thing. You know that. So it is what it is. But I'm just giving you the example to say the Most High has given us gifts of creativity that he has just given to the Hebrews. He really has. And they're there, and it doesn't matter if they get stolen because the author of the gift, he has no limit to how much he could give us. Okay, there's no limit to that. So now, trouble coming out of the north. Joel chapter 1 is repeating what Jeremiah just said. Joel chapter 1. I'm going to begin at verse 1. Joel chapter 1, beginning at verse 1. The word of Yahweh that came to Joel the son of Pethuel. Hear this, ye old men, and give ear, all ye inhabitants of the land. Had this been in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Tell ye your children of it, and let your children tell their children, and their children another generation. That which the palmer worm hath left, hath the locust eaten, and that which the locust hath left, hath the cankerworm eaten, and that which the cankerworm hath left, hath the caterpillar eaten. Awake, ye drunkards, and weep, and howl, all ye drinkers of wine, because of the new wine. For it is cut off from your mouth. For a nation is come up upon my land, strong and without number, whose teeth are the teeth of a lion, and he hath the cheek teeth of a great lion. He hath laid my vine waste, and barked my fig tree. He hath made it clean bare, and cast it away. The branches thereof are made white. Lament like a virgin girded with sackcloth for the husband of her youth. The meat offering and the drink offering is cut off from the house of Yahweh. The priests, Yahweh's ministers, mourn. The field is wasted, the land mourneth, for the corn is wasted. The new wine is dried up, the oil languisheth. Be ye ashamed, O ye husbandmen. How, O ye vine dressers, for the wheat and for the barley, because the harvest of the field is perished. The vine is dried up. The fig tree languisheth, the pomegranate tree, the palm also, and the apple tree, even all the trees of the field are withered, because joy is withered away from the sons of men. Gird yourselves and lament, ye priests. Howl, ye ministers of the altar. Come lie all night in sackcloth, ye ministers of my Most High, for the meat offering and the drink offering is withholden from the house of your Most High. Sanctify ye a fast. Call a solemn assembly, gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land into the house of Yahweh your Most High, and cry unto Yahweh. Alas, for the day of Yahweh is at hand, as a destruction from Al Shaddai shall it come. Is not the meat cut off before your eyes, yea, joy and gladness from the house of your Most High? The seed is rotten under their claws, the garners are laid desolate, the barns are broken down, the corn is withered. How do the beasts groan? The herds of cattle are perplexed because they have no pasture. Yea, the flocks of the sheep are made desolate. O Yahweh, to thee will I cry, for the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness, and flame hath burned all the trees of the field. The beasts of the field cry also unto thee, for the rivers of waters are dried up, and the fire hath devoured the pastures of the wilderness. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds of thick darkness, as of morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and a strong, there had not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even the years of many generations. A fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as a garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the horse of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb walls like men of war. They shall march everyone on his ways. They shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path, and shall fall upon the sword, and they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall climb upon the wall. They shall climb upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them, and the heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Yahweh shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is great, for he is strong that executed his word. For the day of Yahweh is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Therefore also now, saith Yahweh, turn ye to me with all your heart, with fasting, with weeping, and with mourning, and rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto Yahweh your most high, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. Who knoweth if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto Yahweh your most high? Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children, those that suck the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of the chamber and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers, Yahweh, weep between the porch and the altar. Let them say, spare thy people, O Yahweh. Give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their most high? Then will Yahweh be jealous for his land and pity his people. Yahweh will answer and say unto his people, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen, but I will remove far from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder parts toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. See, the northern army is what he was talking about the whole time, coming out the north to punish Israel. That's what happened. You can see they were unstoppable. Notice it said they come before them like the Garden of Eden, but they leave behind, it says, nothing. They leave behind. In other words, they devour and destroy and then leave it behind. Isn't that what's going on the planet? The land is being raped, minerals and gold and silver and diamonds being raped out the earth, and nothing left behind. Isn't that what they do? They come and the land is fruitful, and they take it and rape it and take all the assets out of it and leave it desolate behind them, and the people desolate with it. This is the Babylon we live in. That's what's described here. But then, as you saw, he's telling us to weep and repent. He's telling us, he said, gather the people, sanctify the congregation. Congregation, again, is what? Church. It is not denomination. That's Christianity. The Bible doesn't talk about denomination. There's no Baptist, Pentecostal, SDA in the Bible. There's Catholic, and all of them are under it. No, this is Hebrew. This is Israel. This is the bloodline. And he's saying, gather the people, gather my church, my congregation together, and let them weep. Let them weep between the porch and the altar. Let the priest weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people. Remember what it said in Ezekiel. set a mark upon the ones that sigh and that cry for all the abominations done in the midst thereof. And to the rest he said, go ye forth and slay. The Most High is looking to give his righteousness to his people. He can give his righteousness to his people, his spirit, as we're going to read in a second, as they are repentant. He cannot give unrepentant people his spirit. The devil will give unrepentant people his spirit because the devil's not repentant. As I said, remember, Father is power. Father is power. And Messiah has made the statement where he said, all power has been given to me. That's Messiah's statement in Matthew 28. All power has been given to me. So Father power gave power to Messiah. Therefore, if we're praying to Father and praying through Messiah, we're praying to power. The ones that have the answers, the ones that make things happen by their word. But when a person, listen, when a person is looking to gain power, they're working for Asatan because that's what he's doing. He's looking to gain power. That's everybody in Washington, D.C. That's everybody on Wall Street. They're looking to gain power. That's every greedy person on the planet, which is why the planet is going to be destroyed and made over for the nation that's bringing fruits of righteousness, that brings forth the blessing of the Most High. Let's continue, because he said he's turning it now. He's going to turn it, right? Verse 20. But I will remove far from you the northern army. It will drive them into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. His stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. Fear not, O land. Be glad and rejoice, for Yahweh will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for pastures of wilderness do spring. For the tree beareth her fruit, the vine do yield their strength. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in Yahweh, your Most High. For he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain. That's his spirit, y'all. The former rain and the latter rain in the first. And the floor shall be full of wheat, and the vat shall overflow with wine and oil, and I will restore unto you the years which the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you, and ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of Yahweh, your Most High, that hath dealt wondrously with you. My people shall never be ashamed. Ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel. Who is that? Ye know that I'm in the midst of Israel, and that I am Yahweh, your Most High, and none else. My people shall never be ashamed. He said that twice in 2 verses. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons, talking about Israel now, your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. Brethren, we're already experiencing this. I know myself, my wife, some of the brethren, some of y'all in this room, y'all been getting dreams from the Most High. He's been showing you stuff. For us, he's showing us about us. And I'm sure for you, sometimes he shows us about somebody else, but usually he's showing us about us, about the direction we're supposed to go, about the path he wants us to take. He's showing us. He's saying you're going to see dreams and visions. And brethren, we're seeing. You understand? He's showing us stuff. And what happens now, we're in a culture where self is supreme. So a lot of times, I've done this, we take the visions the wrong way. We take the dreams because we're thinking we're supposed to be exalted in some way. Sometimes he has given me dreams that I refuse to receive, where he told me, I'm going to spank you. One day, it was the beginning of a 7-year spanking. The Most High put me and my wife and my kids, because they with me, 7 years. My wife will tell you of trial. 7 years. And how it started, I woke up one morning and I heard the voice say to me, all this came upon the man. And he named me. He said, all this came upon the man Glasgow. And I said, and that was the voice that he spoke to Nebuchadnezzar when he started 7 years of trial on him. And I knew what it meant. And I said, nah, that must have been my that must have been my own mind, man. But nah, That was 2005 to 2012. And it was hard. Then he gave me another dream showing it again. So sometimes he shows us, like I said, when you ask him to show you stuff, be ready to receive it. Because it's not, more than likely, it's not going to be what you want it to be. Definitely not. Especially in this generation where everything is self-centered. We all think we're supposed to get rich and we're supposed to get money. We're supposed to be kings on this earth. And so everything dream we get, we think we're supposed to blow up. Listen, I used to think like that. That's why I'm saying it. So I'm trying to tell you, he'll show you the real. He's showing us dreams and visions now. And he's guiding our steps in the way we're supposed to go. That's why we're headed to North Carolina. North Carolina is no different than any other place on the planet, except the Most High is telling my wife and I, I'm sending you there. That's all. You understand? So it is what it is. Okay, let's continue. Your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. The servants and the handmaids. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of Yahweh come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, saith Yahweh, have said, as Yahweh said, and the remnant whom Yahweh shall call. I could go more, but y'all got the point. So we're talking about Jeremiah. This is all when we're seeing Jeremiah speak in the beginning, he's speaking about Joel chapter 1 and 2. It's the same thing. But what we're going to see later in Jeremiah is what we saw in the end. Joel takes what Jeremiah was shown and condenses it into three small, pages here, three small chapters. He condenses it into a short prophecy. But Jeremiah is a longer, detailed stuff, right? So it's like Revelation chapter 20 shows us Ezekiel chapter 38, but 38 gives you a long amount of detail about what's going on. And Revelation 19 shows us Ezekiel 39, but it gives us a whole bunch more detail. So Jeremiah is giving a lot of detail. Okay. And Joel is just giving it to you as a synopsis, right? Powerful, man. So let's go back. Jeremiah chapter 4. So now when he talks about coming out of the north, you have a better idea about what they're talking about. And it's not just these two prophets. Of course, like I said, all the prophets speak with one beautiful voice of symphony. Praise the Most High Yah. Whether they with all the Hebrew prophets. And that's all you got in the Bible is Hebrew prophets. See, that's another reason we know it's not a Caucasian man's book. Though Caucasian men were used to translate the book. They didn't write the Bible. They translated words that were in a different language. And the book is written for us. And how do you know? Because all of these scrolls, sometimes they're hundreds of years apart. Sometimes like there's hundreds of years between the Revelation and Jeremiah. Hundreds of years, there's centuries. And yet they speak the same thing. Daniel, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel were contemporaries. Moses is way before them. But they speak the same thing. You understand? Same thing. Speak with one voice. Okay, so let's go now. Jeremiah chapter 4. So we're talking about coming out of the north, right? So let's start. We last night we stopped at verse 15, but I'm gonna go up a couple of verses and continue from there. Okay, so I'm gonna start at verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 11. At that time shall it be said to this people and to Jerusalem, a dry wind of the higher places in the wilderness toward the daughter of my people, not to fan nor to cleanse, even a full wind from those places shall come unto thee. Now also will I give sentence against them. Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariot shall be as the whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe unto us, for we are spoiled. O Jerusalem, wash thy heart from wickedness, thou mayest be saved. How long shall thy vain thoughts lodge within thee? For a voice declared from Dan and published a fiction from Mount Ephraim. We stopped there last night. Dan and Mount Ephraim, again, were the northern kingdom that at this time were already scattered and destroyed. The Assyrians had already destroyed and scattered the northern 10 tribes. And the northern 10 tribes were led by Dan and Ephraim. Now, I want you to notice, very interesting. If you read the list of the tribes from the 144,000, you will not see Dan and Ephraim. I want to show you. You won't see them. What you say? What? Yeah, you don't see them. They're not there. There's no Dan and there's no Ephraim among the 144,000. Now they're on the wall. Now, when you read the names that's on the wall, it shows you that in the last chapter of Ezekiel, it tells you the names that's on the wall of the city, and it names them. But as far as the people that are being raised up in this last days for Yahweh's name to be glorified, the 144,000, what? Look, you're not going to see Dan or Ephraim. Watch. And I heard that verse 4, Revelation 7:4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. The tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000. Tribe of Simeon was sealed 12,000. Tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. Tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. Tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Tribe of Joseph was sealed 12,000. Tribe of Benjamin. So you're missing Dan and Ephraim. You say, how do you still get 12? That's a good question. In the original 12, when the Most High had them get the land, Levi was not counted among them. Remember, Levi didn't have an inheritance in the land because Yahweh is his inheritance, right? So he didn't have one. Joseph wasn't listed because Joseph was represented in his two sons. Joseph got the blessing of the firstborn. His two sons were Ephraim and Manasseh, who he had with the Egyptian woman, the Hamite. He had two children with her, Ephraim, and they became two tribes, Ephraim and Manasseh. The biggest, most prosperous of all the tribes was Ephraim. And he got the blessing. He was the youngest of the two sons. But remember, Jacob laid his right hand on Ephraim's head. And Joseph said, no, not so, father. Manasseh is the firstborn. He said, I know it's son, but his younger brother going to get more blessing. And so Ephraim became the head, which is why, I know you ought to think about this before, but listen, Joshua came out of the tribe of Ephraim. And Joshua took Moses' place to lead the children of Israel into the promised land. And so the Ark of the Covenant was originally, as Jeremiah is going to repeat, in Ephraim. But David put it to Judah because out of Judah came Messiah. You understand? Out of Judah came Messiah. So Ephraim was not included because Ephraim, that's where, I'm going to give you some more history. There was a man named Jeroboam. He was the son of Nebat. There's a lot of Jeroboams in the Bible, but this one you'll know because it'll say Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. The Most High gave him the 10 tribes of the north, gave it to him. Solomon hated him. Solomon hated him because he hated Solomon because of Solomon's idolatry and his wife. And he fled to Egypt, Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. And when Solomon died, Jeroboam came back and the Most High said, I'm going to give you the 10 tribes. You're going to be a king over the 10 tribes of my people, Israel. But Jeroboam knew that all Israel had to go to Judah, to Jerusalem for the feasts. So what he did is he created his own feast. And instead of it happening in the Feast of Tabernacles in the 7th month, he made it the 8th month. And he said, don't go to Jerusalem. Come to Shiloh, which was in Ephraim. Come to Shiloh. Matter of fact, the prophet Samuel, when he came out on the scene, he was in Shiloh. He was a Levite in Shiloh because that's where the Ark of the Covenant was. But then there was jealousy between Ephraim and Judah. And that's why the Bible says Ephraim and Judah are not going to beef anymore. It says it in Isaiah, it says it in Ezekiel. Okay. But here he mentions, in Jeremiah, he mentions Dan and Ephraim because those are rebellious. They led the rebellion of Israel against the Most High and they were banished. And so now he's warning Judah by saying the voice of Ephraim and the voice of Dan is speaking to you. Take heed. Remember what happened to them, right? That's what he's trying to warn his people against, right? So back to Jeremiah chapter 4. Let's look at verse 15. For the voice declareth from Dan and publisheth affliction from Mount Ephraim. Said, listen, you better remember them examples. They made 2 golden calves in Dan. They made 2 golden calves in Shiloh, and I destroyed them, and I scattered them. Don't act like that, Judah. I'm being more merciful to you because of my servant David. Don't act like that. And that's why you do not see and among the 144,000, the tribe of Dan and Ephraim, but you're going to see them in the kingdom because they're part of the 12 tribes. But you're going to see the other tribes bring forth the message of the 144,000. Praise the Most High. Yeah. Okay. So let's continue. Jeremiah chapter 4. Let's go from verse 16. Make ye mention to the nations, behold, publish against Jerusalem that watchers come from a far country to give out their voice against the cities of Judah. As keepers of a field are they against her round about, because she hath been rebellious against me, saith Yahweh. Thy way and thy doings have procured these things unto thee. This is thy wickedness, because it is bitter, because it reaches into thine heart. My bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of a trumpet, the alarm of war. Isaiah says in Isaiah 58 verse 1, the Most High says to Isaiah, lift up your voice like a trumpet and show my people their transgressions and show Israel their sin. Messiah, when he returns, he's coming with the voice of a trumpet. The trumpet is the voice of the alarm of war. Okay. And so the trumpet came against us in Jeremiah. As I said, we just showed that, but at the end, the trumpet is going to be on our side. The trumpet's going to be on our side. But for here, the trumpet is against us. For us to get the other way around, the awakening, we have to get awakened. You have to understand who we are, where we came from, and what we're not a part of anymore. Now, you can't really leave Babylon altogether. Why do I say that? Well, Babylon owns everything. You can't buy anything or sell anything without Babylon. So, that's that. But you can leave Babylon completely as far as religion. You can leave Babylon completely as far as religion. You don't have to be a part of Babylon's religion. You ain't got to celebrate Easter and Christmas. You ain't got to be a part of the Christianity or the Judaism or the Islam. You ain't got to be a part of that. You can be who the Most High chose you to be, Israel. Because that's what you're made to be. Just like I said, we were given creativity as the chosen people. We are the chosen people. He brought us into existence to be his servants and to show the earth how they could be his servants. That's our role. And as long as we're not fulfilling our role, the earth it's not going to be right. Never going to be right. As long as we're not fulfilling our role. And we're going to fulfill it because Yah has ordained it. We're going to fulfill our role because he has ordained it. Okay. So we're going to continue this. I know we cover a lot of ground here, but that's how we do it. That's how we roll. So we're going to continue this in the next part of the study. I'm going to stop here and we're going to continue. But I wanted to give you all of that background so you understand where Jeremiah is coming from, because you're going to hear a lot of rebukes upon Israel in the beginning of the book of Jeremiah, mixed with some future blessings. But then at the end, he's going to show what's going to be the end result of it all, which is our redemption and the reestablishment of Yah's kingdom on this planet. Okay, which is going to be very soon. We're living at that time. Okay, we're in the latter days right now. So it's about us, really is. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. It's 12:24 on the East Coast. I'm going to come back maybe about 10 after 1, and then we'll start again and finish, try to finish chapter 4 of Jeremiah. The Most High wills it. Praise the Most High Yah for his grace and mercy toward us. May he be merciful unto you. May he show you his grace. May he give you his power, because he is power. May he guide and bless your way. Okay, Most High bless you and keep you, and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. Shalom.